joining us next here, as he does each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Phillies, another loss, but the manager definitely had some interesting things to say last night. Doesn't mean anything, though. Mike McGarry joins us from the press of Atlantic City right now here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike, how are you doing after the late night with the Phillies?
I'm doing well. Late night with the Phillies and the Mets last night. Neither result worked out well for either team, basically.
Well, let me start with this. Who's calling out of their team do you think will actually matter more? Girardi's unhappiness or the Mets owner Steve Cohen being ticked off?
Probably neither. At this point, you can say all you want to say, but the guys on the field have to get it done. And right now, the problem with both teams is neither team is hitting, and neither team is really hitting the ball. Forget about clutch hitting with runners in scoring position. For the Mets, it's been a problem all season long. And for the Phillies, it's been a sporadic problem. And it's reared its ugly head again. What did the Phillies have? 3 hits last night. They get a good pitch game from Kyle Gibson. But if you don't hit the ball, you're not going to win. And with the Phillies, it's interesting. The Phillies, during the 8-game winning streak, I think they hit something like 18 home runs. They are built to hit home runs. And if they hit home runs, they're going to win, and they're just not hitting them now. They got one from Bryce Harper last night, but that was about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got the one homer from Harper, but then it seemed like the entire offense, as Girardi said after the game, just went quiet. And listen, if you have a starting pitcher who goes out there, goes 6 innings, only gives up 3 runs, that's a respectable performance. We're not expecting Kyle Gibson to be Jacob deGrom. We're just asking him to not implode like some of the other pitchers have this year. And with the Phillies offense, like you said, they got 3 hits the entire night and 2 runs against a team and supposed to be one of the worst teams in baseball. That's unacceptable, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, we asked Bryce Harper spoke on Sunday after the homestand concluded with the loss to the Cincinnati Reds, and he was asked about the offense, and he said, well, we faced some good pitching, right? We faced Tyler Mahle of Cincinnati, who's had a good year. We a couple of Dodger guys, they're tough to hit. But last night, Arizona's putting guys in the game, relievers in the game with ERAs in the teens at one point. And if you can't hit those guys, you're in trouble. And you're absolutely right. If your starting pitcher goes out against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that's won 38 games this year, and gives up 3 runs, then you should win a baseball game. And the Phillies didn't do that last night. But it also goes to show you what everybody sort of jumped on around here was strength of schedule. And Girardi was adamant about it last night. He doesn't want to hear about it, and it showed last night. I mean, the Phillies are in no position to look at a schedule and mark a game down as a W, and that was never more clear last night. And now that, this West Coast trip gets off to a tough start with the loss last night.
Yeah, the one quote from Girardi last night was, we got beat because we didn't hit. No matter who you play, if you don't hit, if you don't pitch, if you don't run the bases, if you don't play defense, you're going to lose in this league. That's the bottom line. That was one of the Girardi quotes from the presser last night. And, listen, I there's a part of me, Mike, that feels, I don't want to say bad for Girardi, but I have a little bit of empathy for him, let's say, because of the fact that I feel like he's trying to push the right buttons, and it seems like whatever buttons he's pushing, it's just not working, and I don't think he knows what to do anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? And he has juggled the lineup, right? And right now the lineup is probably not at full strength because Rhys Hoskins is out with an injury. He could come off the 10-day IL today, although all indications are that's not going to happen. And the way the game ended last night with an Alec Bohm pop-up, I mean, has there been a bigger disappointment this season than Alec Bohm? Forget about his problems in the field. It's his problems at the plate. Now you look at it, on both the Mets case and the Phillies case, Phillies are 2.5 back of the Braves. I remember talking with Mike Gill. It seems like the Miami Marlins beat the Phillies and Mets. But when you look up at the standings, the Marlins are in last place. They got 40 wins. Well, who always beats the Marlins? The answer, the Braves. The Braves are pounding the Marlins. The Braves 2.5 up on the Phillies. I think they're 3.5, maybe 4 up on the Mets. This is a stretch where you don't want to be 5-6 games back heading into September, because history tells you that you're that far back when September 1st comes. You finish that far back when the season ends.
And, Mike, you got to win the games that are in front of you. You can't worry about the Mets and the Braves every single night and hope for the best that they lose too, right? Like, you got to go out there and win your games. Harper said that on Sunday, and I felt like last night Harper did his job. He went out, swung his bat, got a home run. When Segura had that pop out in the infield with 2 runners on with 2 outs, I think it was the 7th inning last night, I'm watching, I'm thinking, you can't make that swing in that situation. Like, it's almost like the Phillies just forgot how to hit with runners on base all of a sudden, because guess what? They got a couple guys on last night, a couple different times, and it was just like, oh, well, we didn't get it tonight. Like, no, you got to have a little more urgency out there.
Yeah, that's been the problem with both teams, the Mets and the Phillies, is hitting with runners in scoring position. I think what you're seeing with Segura right now is maybe a little bit of a market correction, right? He's mired in a slump now. He's really had an outstanding season with the bat up until this point. But when you look at his numbers, is he really that good of a hitter? Guys revert to the back of their baseball card, and Segura might be getting to the back of his baseball card. And to get to the back of his baseball card, he's going to be in a slump, and that's what he's in now. So maybe, they got the best they were going to get out of Gene Segura early in the season. Again, a lot of managers have said guys always get to those numbers that are on the back of their baseball card. Segura was hitting sort of above his weight all season long. Maybe he's reverting to that baseball card, and that means, the slump that he's in now is part of that.
Mike McGarry joining us here on the Sports Bash Wednesday edition on 97.3 ESPN at AC Press McGarry on Twitter. Check out all of his coverage of the Phillies and more over at PressOfAtlanticCity.com. Mike, last night we were told that Sam Coonrod and Freddie Galvis are rehabbing over at Lehigh Valley. Vince Velasquez is rehabbing over at Clearwater. But do any of those guys really make a difference for this team down the stretch, or is this just more bodies to throw out there?
I'll say no to Vince Velasquez. I think we've all seen enough of him, right? Sam Coonrod could possibly be another arm in the bullpen to maybe help out. I guess the biggest name there would be Galvez. You hope that maybe he could come in as a late-inning defensive replacement, maybe play occasionally, give Didi Gregorius a break, Ronald Torreyes a break, because it's clearly that Bohm's not playing anymore, so it looks like Torreyes is out there every day, and I don't think Torreyes is an everyday player, so he's in danger of getting a little bit of exposed, a little bit of overexposed there. So if Galvis can come in, be a late-inning defensive replacement, maybe fill in on that left side of the infield, I think out of those 3 guys, he's the guy that you would probably look for and say, would be the biggest name back and give a boost. I don't think anybody wants to see Vince Velasquez on the mound in a game that counts. And, the bullpen has actually pitched pretty well with, this sort of thing they've gone to of Hector Neris in the 6th and 7th inning, Archie Bradley in the 8th, and Ian Kennedy in the 9th. They've actually kind of solidified that. So Coonrod would be another arm back there, but Galvez would be the name there that I think we would look for to be the biggest contributor.
Well, maybe Velasquez could be a defensive replacement over in left field. You know what I mean?
Right. He made a great throw last year, right? So we're pinch runner or something. Great athlete.
Yeah, great athlete. I don't know if I want him pitching anymore, but maybe he can do something else.
I don't know if I want to see it starting the game, but great athlete.
Right. Speaking of pitching tonight, Ranger Suarez goes for the Phillies tonight's game. What do you want to see from Suarez tonight in another start here? Because overall he's pitched well, but he hasn't pitched very deep in the games.
Right. And I don't know if we're at, must-win territory yet, but we're getting pretty close with the Phillies. If they would lose tonight, tomorrow might be, their first must-win of the season. So what I want to see out of Ranger Suarez is I want to see 5, maybe 6 shutout innings. I think he went 4 his last time out. I think he can go that 90 pitches. Go 5, 6 innings, shut down Arizona, and let the Phillies better wake up the bats and get a win and start, to put themselves in position to take 2 out of 3 from Arizona. Look, you're not going to go in and win every game, but you take 2 out of 3 from Arizona, you can live with that. That's good. You put yourself behind the 8 ball by losing last night. So what you need from Suarez is 5, 6 innings where you shut down the Arizona offense, and then you need the Phillies offense to get going. You need to win the night to put yourself in position to take 2 out of 3. Because if you lose tonight and you're facing a sweep tomorrow, that's not good.
Must-win column by Mike McGarry. You speak in the Press of Atlantic City here on 97.3 ESPN. Little connectivity there.
Right.
Speaking of the press of Atlantic City, Mike, you guys just posted a little bit ago the breaking news locally here about Tom Ferraco stepping down from Middle Township. I mean, I don't think people realize, maybe they forget what happened with him, how he had to leave, he came back, and you're talking about a coach in this area that, has been one of the top coaches in all of South Jersey for years, and it seems like he's stepping down for good this time.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I just got off the phone with him minutes before I jumped on here with you. Stepped down today. One of the great coaches in New Jersey high school basketball history, right? 731 wins, 266 losses, 3 state titles, 9 South Jersey championships, a 1993 team that went to the Tournament of Champions final, won 30 games, might be the best team ever in Cape Atlantic League history. Coached from 81 to 2016, had some health problems around 2014, 2015 with prostate cancer, stepped down in 2016, came back in 2019. They were 2-4 last year. A lot of COVID issues as we all battled last season. Seems like all those teams down in Cape May kind of had issues with COVID. But stepping down just based on the fact that it's just a grind. He's 63 years old. The program is headed on the upswing. They have a lot of good, talented, younger players, so the program is headed in the right direction. But he kind of runs a family-owned liquor store business down there in Cape May, and the grind of coaching high school basketball, which I think is something that listeners should know. It's not just the 25 games that come in December, January, and February. Coaching high school basketball is a year-round thing. It's off-season weightlifting. It's summer league games. It's skill workouts. It's a grind, and he just kind of said in the story that I posted on pressofacd.com, he just doesn't feel like he can give 100%, so he's going to step down. But obviously, one of the great coaches, regardless of sports, in Cape Atlantic League, Shore, and even New Jersey State high school history.
Mike, this area has been very fortunate to have guys like Tom Ferraco at Middle Township, Paul Rodeo over at St. Augustine Prep. You have Gene Allen over at Atlantic City. But these guys aren't getting any younger, and it seems like, we're, for lack of a better term, we're almost waiting for that next generation to start, following in line. And I got to say, I'm curious to see who are the next coaches who come into this area who make the impact that those men have.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, that is a great point and exactly what I was thinking. In today's world, I don't know if we're going to see the Paul Rodeos, the Tom Ferracos, the Gene Allens, the Paul Saccos of St. Joe football, the Pete Lancettas of St. Augustine football. I don't know if we're going to see guys coach 25, 30 years. It's a different world today. There's a lot of demands on people's time. It's a different world with coaching, social media, parents, etc. Life's probably a lot more complicated in 2021 than it was in 1981 when Tom Ferraco got started. So that's a great point, and a point that, I've kind of made several times, and I might make again this week is, if you've got one of these guys at this school, you better appreciate every day that guy is there, because he's not going to be there forever. And, we might be having an era or entering an era where a similar type figure is just not coming along. So that's a great point by you right there.
Mike McGarry, Press of Atlantic City. Follow him on Twitter at AC Press McGarry. Check out all of his work over at thepressofatlanticcity.com. And he'll be back on Friday's edition of the show. And, of course, the Phillies continue their West Coast swing. Mike, keep up with the caffeine, and hopefully you can survive the Phillies game tonight.
All right, Josh, I appreciate it. Thanks.